I was having a conversation with my dad the other day on what's going to happen in the future in the next 5 to 10 years with this investment in AI and technology. And what he said to me, and what we were talking about, our fears of, is that there will come a point where there's going to be a need, a necessity for a universal based income, because a lot of people are not going to get hired. There's going to be a minimal pool of people that can be employed because of how optimized and how I guess you can say streamlined companies will do their operations. There won't be need for any head employees if you're not like specialized or have extreme knowledge in the operations. There won't be need for like the monotony of data entry and such. And so that leaves a large majority, at least in the white collar jobs, to not have any positions, right? So what's going to happen to those people? Well, they're going to have to file for unemployment, right? And since it's a majority, it's going to have to be a need for some subsidy on it, a universal basic income. So the question arises, like, who's going to subsidize it, right? Like, if I can illustrate it, the people that are going to subsidize it, since a majority people are in the middle and lower class, right? This is how society is structured. Middle, lower, and then we have the elites here, those with money. So if we have people in the middle class, the people that pay taxes, the people that buy the products of the corporations from the elite not having money, then society in its whole will collapse, right? There will be a need for the elite here, the people here, the people that own a majority of the wealth and the power, to subsidize for the rest. Because the way it's going now, there is a clear lack of movement. I'm not saying like there's not a lot of money, like money can be printed, like there's an abundance of that. The government can just print more money. But what I'm saying is the flow of how wealth is distributed is unequal. The elites marry those who are also elites, marry those with money, hold this tightly in their circles, and it doesn't flow downwards equally. So the middle class and the lower class, we're at a disadvantage here. We're not well off for sure, but in terms of the future, especially in terms of what's going to happen then, I fear for the worst for us. Because think about it, like corruption, people are greedy, corporations and politicians, they're kind of in a cahoots together, right? They're kind of like together on this. Bribery, such like that. So how are politicians, those people that are supposed to help a majority of the middle class and lower class, how are they supposed to help the people that need them the most when they're in cahoots with the the elites that are supposed to fund it? This is a clear decision that has to be made in the future, because corporations will have to subsidize for the rest of society. Where's the money going to come from, right? Who's going to subsidize the unemployed in the future? Not the small pool of middle class and lower class, right? They don't have enough, right? So it's going to have to come from the top. And there's going to be a clear backlash from the top, those elites, those with power. It's human nature, honestly. So, what will happen if there doesn't come a decision, right? What will happen then? Well, I think revolution. I think sorry, I put marker on my lovely tights that I just bought. Oh, anyways, I'll figure that later. But there will have to be a point where, I think the elites are kind of scared of it already, where the middle class will have to revolt on the inequality, unfairness of wages, living wages. Because corporations in the future will not hire people just out of the goodness of their heart. They will not hire people just to fill a quota. I mean, you can say with affirmative action, with DEI, that it's about goodwill in the future, right? But what matters most to people is the moolah. There gets a point when you're a big corporation, bigger companies, where it's going to be about the money. Yeah, it's going to be about money. The purpose is lost because you're feeding and a lot of families, right? A lot of people. So it becomes about money first and foremost. It's about the shareholders, it's about the investors. We can see that in Turning Point USA right now. What's happening right now, their focus is not only the vision, it's it's money. And so what my dad and I were talking about was that there needs to be someone with the charisma, with the leadership, or the character, Adolf Hitler, back then. I'm not saying we should have another Adolf Hitler. I'm not saying that, but don't misconstrue my words here. But I'm saying we need someone who's willing to sacrifice, is willing to lead a kind of movement of change. Because if there's no change and we're all compliant, then we're not going to survive, honestly, as a society. Unless there is a change from the top. It has to be from the top to bottom. So there has to be an individual that will rise up and lead people towards this kind of revolution, revolt of change, if the worst comes to worst. And I really don't see anyone that has that character. I really don't see that in our generation. I feel as though we've gotten a little bit weak. We've gotten a little bit scared, and rightly so. There is a lot of things to be scared of, but hopefully the strength trumpets the fear that we have. But yeah, that's just how I feel it's gonna be. Because thinking about it now, I can almost picture how it's gonna turn out in my head. I don't know if you've come across that feeling, it could be something more. You can see it in your head, it could be something more. With technology, you can see how that phone that you're holding, how it seems so elementary, so it'd be attached to me. It can come to a point where it's actually attached to me, this phone, and it could be widespread. And so what I'm seeing for the future, what's going to happen, is something like that. Where it's kind of weird how we created these computers to make our lives easier. We created this AI to make our life easier, but now we're in the detriment. We're coming to a point where AI and technology has been advancing so much that it'll come to the point where it'll even take over our lives and the life of ease. We've achieved it for sure. Everything's convenient now. We can get food. We can have food delivered. Everything is of convenience. And is convenience always a good thing, though? That's the thing. Our brain is programmed to go through the pathway of least resistance, right? But is that always good for us, right? Tell me a time when you picked a path of least resistance, but know that there's something else that you had to do, some more work that you had to do, like to get to where you want to go, like train for a marathon, which I should be doing. I should be running right now, to be honest. But what I'm trying to say here is kind of paradoxical, kind of a double-edged sword, what we've done to our society and what's going to happen now. And I feel as though we have to go back to our roots. It's like a cyclical thing. I'm not as fearful as I should. No, I'm not as fearful about the future as I think to be. Because everything's cyclical. It's just like the stock market, ups and downs. It's easier to say now when we're not at war and I'm not in the firing of enemy lines or seeing such horrific things. It's easy to say in the comfort of my home. It really is. It's like with any pain that you go through, it's like at the moment you feel horrible. You feel like why did I think that I can do this? Like, this is too much. But when afterwards you think, okay, it's not that bad. You don't remember the pain. You don't remember the fear that you had at that moment to its full extent. And I feel as though we have also forgotten. And so it's a cyclical thing. Forget and then remember. So, yeah, I think that's it for me today. Okay. You take care.